So the metals have had an excellent run, and today we're looking at platinum, which has had quite a spike, up about 72% from the low in April, on April 7th, almost 72% gain. But what we're starting to see is a little bit of a bearish pattern. We're on the daily chart here. We can see this rising wedge. We've had a little bit of a breakdown. There's some negative divergence on the momentum indicators. Now, this doesn't mean that platinum is going straight down. It does indicate, though, that it's looking a little bit expensive. It'll probably come back up to test the breakdown, maybe go on to make a marginally higher high. But I would say probability favors some weakness here in platinum. It has had an excellent run. And if we come back to the 5-year chart and we just remove those drawings, we could see that from February 2021, I would draw the downtrend here. And we're seeing some of the same classic patterns we see, downtrend, downtrend. I would call that a false breakout. Finally, a breakout in about middle of last year, and you can see a return to the scene of the crime. Once you break resistance, which is the roof, I've talked about this many times before, once you break that, you return to the scene of the crime. Notice a lot of bouncing along the roof, finding support, very key levels here around the sort of $900 level, find support, and then of course it has the big spike from there, from April to where it is currently, about 70% or so, big spike. And if we go to an all-time chart, if we just clean the chart up again, yes, this is very positive long-term for platinum. And I would call that we're on a monthly chart now, I would call that the breaking of the downtrend with support there around the $750, $800 level. You can see there's been a big spike. But this level here around sort of $1,200, very key level. We know that markets like to return to the scene of the crime generally to test these key levels, and that level around 1150 to 1200 is pretty key. So I would say the most probable outcome is that it needs to return to that level. So maybe from here where it is currently, it needs a 20% sell-off, and then it'll likely find support there. That'll probably be a rebuy level. Of course, this is not advice. We're just looking at the charts for educational purposes. But we see a lot of these same patterns playing out. For my clients and I, we are bullish metals, commodities long term. So what I've been advising my clients to do is to be out of specific things like the silver, the platinum, the mining stocks, etc. And we're moving into the relative safety of a commodities basket fund that still does hold a lot of these commodities, but we don't want concentration, I don't want my clients to have concentration, particularly in something like platinum that has had a massive spike and is likely due for a bit of weakness and a bit of a sell-off from here. Thanks as always for listening. Cheers.